The 2025 Italian Formula 1 Grand Prix at the Temple of Speed is done and dusted, and a crucial strategy development decision allowed Max Verstappen to grab his third win of the season, only his third. Yeah, you know, you heard me right. And here are my 5 verdicts of the Italian GP itself. So just 2 years ago, the RB19, we know how ultra dominant the RB19 is, and as if seeing the RB19 at a full display this time, the RB21, which has been a very tricky car so far this season, already 16 races in, and it's shown the full domination of the RB9, just as the RB19. I mean, the RB21 is just like a smooth car, and it's dominating the Italian Grand Prix. Unexpectedly taking pole position at the very crucial moment in the very last second. It was monstrous, to say the least, how Max Verstappen was able to pull a gap like that far away. That is just the absolute domination that the RB21 displayed this time around. And just as I've touched upon in the intro earlier, it was due to this very crucial development decision that Max was actually very adamant to say that I want this type of setting, and he ended up getting the pole position and ultimately winning the race by a large margin in a very dominant fashion. So dominant and so far away from the rest of the pack that he could laugh at McLaren's strategy, at how McLaren swapped the cars, the papaya rules, and blah blah blah. He laughed at them while driving at 300 kilometers an hour. And it's funny, to say the least, to the point that his race engineer GP had to kind of remind Max that okay, it is none of the business, but we need to stay focused on the road ahead. There was still like a few laps to go when Max kind of laughed at this papaya rules nonsense. And yeah, coming to Azerbaijan, we can't really say for sure that Max is going to repeat the same performance, nor the Red Bull, because even last year the Baku street circuit proved not to be friendly, that really friendly to the characteristic of the current Red Bull car. So yeah, this might be just a one-off third Grand Prix win of the season for Max. Last year at this point he already had like what, 7 or 8 wins. But yeah, this just shows how Max and Red Bull particularly are very struggling this season, and it's going to be interesting to see the development of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in a few weeks' time. I don't think it's just me, because I've seen a lot of other content creators in the field of Formula 1, be it the race, well, they're the news broadcaster, not just a content creator, but the likes of Aldas and Perspective. I haven't seen his videos, but a lot of content creators just deem that this is a very bad precedent for the future races between the McLaren battles, the internal McLaren battles for the title. Both Oscar and Lando, these two are the only title contenders basically. But a very bad precedent is being set by the McLaren due to these papaya rules that I've touched upon in the previous section. They basically swap Oscar and Lando. Lando was actually in P2, Oscar being P3, and they kind of asked Lando if it's okay to pit Oscar first, and Lando was like, okay, it's okay to pit the second car first, as long as it's not going to result in an undercut. But they did eventually an accidental undercut, because when Lando pitted after Oscar a few laps later, he got a bad pit stop and he got undercut by Oscar accidentally. But come on, this is racing, this is Formula 1. Pit stop is part of the racing. Be it a bad luck pit stop, mate, it's part of racing. Just let them race. Why need to swap them? So by that logic, now it means that if the other McLaren crash, should the other McLaren retire too, for the sake of fairness, in the name of fairness? That's just ridiculous. These papaya rules are just absolute nonsense. I really would like to see maybe Lando trying to overtake Oscar by himself, and maybe they ended up tangling and crashed. That would be so much more interesting from what seems to be a double podium, a P2 and P3, resulting in 0 points. Oscar being very obedient towards this team order, and it's just, come on, give us some spice. I do understand that McLaren has this intention of keeping this lineup for the distant future, for maybe like for the next 2, 3, 5 years even. But come on, this is part of the sport. We need drama. It's been so chill and calm coming into this 16th race. So yeah, we need something more, and I really hope coming to Azerbaijan, Oscar will dominate that GP. Last year he was so strong. I hope this year he will be strong as well. And yeah, let's see how things plays out between the two McLaren boys. So a quick look back to last year's Italian GP at Monza, how Charles Leclerc was magically pulling a one-stopper and he won the race with just a one-stopper, a pit stop that he did at the end of lap 15 if I'm not mistaken, and he ran with the hard tires for the rest of the lap until lap 53, the last lap. And it's funny to see that the duration of the race itself from this year compared to last year, it has a difference of only about 1 minute and 16 seconds, because this year basically everyone was one stopping, but last year only Charles Leclerc and a few others maybe did the one stop. And with that one stop this year, Charles Leclerc only managed a P4, and Lewis Hamilton, starting from P10, managed to finish the race in P6. And oddly, if we see last year's statistics, in Monza, bear in mind that at Monza you lose about 21 to 25 seconds per pit stop. So if we add 21 seconds to Charles Leclerc's time from last year's Monza, he will finish exactly in P4, just like he did this year. So that just shows that with everyone doing a one-stopper, Ferrari couldn't make any difference. They couldn't shine at all. I think the FIA need to intervene in this kind of area, not so everyone will do at the very least 2 stop and a more strategic variation. And yeah, if everyone is doing a one stopper like what we saw in Italian GP, it's going to be a really boring race. Well, I'm not really saying that the Italian GP was boring. It was a meh, but it wasn't really that interesting too. Less action, and I mean, okay, I know for the fact that the track is narrow and the cars are very big, but it's come on, they could produce better racing. We know Monza could produce better racing than this. Once again, looking like a midfielder. This is Mercedes, the Mercedes that we're talking about. They're looking like a midfielder. They are once again trapped in a bewildering mess that they created themselves. Both George and Kimi couldn't extract anything from the W16. Especially in Kimi's case, messy racecraft, messy start. He was having a bad start, a really bad start. He was starting P6. It was actually a very good spot to start at Monza, but he did a bad start and he was tumbling down the order to, I think, as low as P10. It was worsened by his racecraft, just like I said, resulting in a 5-second penalty, contacts here and there, and yeah, he was dropped to P9 by the finish line. Massive points lost to the Ferrari in terms of the Constructors' Championship. George Russell himself, George even admitted in the post-race interview that today was a very massive loss to the Ferrari boys. At this point, at the very least, the Mercedes fans, I think they can only be hopeful coming to Las Vegas, because of course the Mercedes were a dominant force last year in Las Vegas. But yeah, we can't really say for sure because the W16 is just such a random car. The least amount of twitch on the car will result in a very unpredictable manner for the car, for the Silver Arrows. So it's not going to be a very joyful journey coming to this next Grand Prix. When Nico Hülkenberg came back to F1 as a full-time driver with the Haas, 2 seasons, 23 and 24, he was absolutely a qualifier, a very good qualifier. His qualifying prowess though, putting that Haas in the front row. I think it was the 2023 Canadian GP, if I'm not mistaken, when that house was still basically a tire chewing machine. When he moved to Sauber, when it was announced, and it was announced that he was going to be teammates with a rookie, Gabi Bortoleto, we thought for sure that he was going to dominate Gabi, like totally. But it could not be further from the truth. This year, 16 races in, not even once that Nico Hülkenberg got inside the Q3. Gabi, on the other hand, he managed 4 Q3 appearances. So that's just, wow, Gabi is dominating Hulk for quite some time now. The finishing in these past few races clearly shows that too. I know for the fact that in the broader picture, the head-to-head stats still favors Hulkenberg, but Gabi is slowly but surely coming there, and it's another point for Gabi at Monza. He started P7 and finished P8. Had Fernando not had that mechanical failure, that suspension failure, I think he will finish ahead of Gabi. Bottom line is, Gabi will still finish inside the points. Well, Nico didn't even start the race, but I think he would maybe get into the points knowing that he started P12, and we saw that Isaac Haja starting P19, he managed to finish inside the points. He finished P10. And Hulk, having a P12 starting grid, I think he could finish in the points, but I don't think he was going to beat Gabi in this race. Gabi is just good at Monza. Let's not forget that last year, while still in F2 in the feature-length race, Gabi Bortoleto, he won the Italian Grand Prix at Monza starting last. So yeah, Gabi and Monza, there's just something between these two, and I think this is an upward trajectory and a very good trend for Gabi coming to this next few Grand Prix. But let's not forget, we will have Azerbaijan and Singapore in a back-to-back manner, back-to-back very tight street circuit. And we've seen that this year Gabi hasn't really been that good in the street circuit, as well as this is new venues. I'm not really sure about the Azerbaijan, but for the Singapore, I don't think F2 race at Singapore. So yeah, I think it's going to be a new venue for Gabi. Another learning curve for the Brazilian, for the young Brazilian. So yeah, I think that's it that I can talk about this 2025 Italian Grand Prix. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and like and subscribe for more, and until we meet again.